I'm going to take off the handle and try to rekey because I just replaced my tailgate after it was stolen last night. Found one for $200. It's a little banged up. And I'm also going to try and put in a theft deterrent so that it doesn't happen again. I'm definitely going to be locking my tailgate from now on also, so let's go. So first, it's going to be a T30 attachment that you need, usually, I guess, to take out these screws holding in the back plate. Once you've got all those out, with the T30 I used an impact driver, then you can access the back of the handle, and there are two nuts here. So it's kind of tricky. You just have to work it out, how that comes out from underneath there. Make sure that the lock isn't getting stuck on the edge there, and that little activating hook gets around that lever, and then you'll have it off, and we'll be able to get the barrel for the lock out so that we can refix or rekey, kind of rig. Basically, we're going to rig this based on another YouTube video I found. Hopefully it'll work. So I want to take this thing apart. This little metal cap comes off, and then next I'm going to remove the whatever you call those, collar. That's probably not a collar pin, but anyway, I'm gonna do it off camera. So I remove that, and I'm gonna continue disassembling this little guy. This is smaller than the one I saw in the other video. So this is a Ford F150 2014. I'm gonna keep going off camera to disassemble this. Oh, or not, one-handed. So what I heard you can do is insert your key that goes with your truck, and then grind them down so that it will turn when your key is in there. Let's see. So there it is with my key inserted, and the idea is to grind these down and so that it will rotate, and you can then actuate your lock. I'll give it a shot. Alright, so I cleaned this thing up with some nut breaker looser, de-ruster stuff. Anyway, cleaned it up, and now I'm gonna grind these, whatever you call them, pins or whatever. I'm gonna grind these down level, as I've seen on another video, but this is a little different. See, so I grinded them down with the key inserted to make it all smooth, so that they're all smooth when the key is inserted, and then when you remove, some of them still pop out, and that's going to be what locks. That's my understanding of it anyway. So there you go. When inserted, all of the pins are down, and I'm going to put the barrel back together. I noticed when I was about to put it back together that there's a little spring in there and a little slot that I bet had a post that probably I lost when I took it apart, and that corresponds with a little notch there. I'm guessing that is, and that notch is not on the other side. I'm guessing that is so that whenever you're ready to pull the key out, it's kind of notched in place a little bit. But what I'm going to do is take a nail and cut it down to size, and it's about the right diameter. I'll get a little bit thicker one, and then try and replace that little pin that I'm sure went flying or something. So I put it back on. I haven't put the cap back on yet, but you probably want to mark which way this goes when you take it off somehow. And when I'm putting this thing back on, I kind of bent it back tight again, so that, because it was loose when I put it back on before, so I bent it a little bit. Of course, if you were doing a professional job, you'd have a new, you'd replace that. And also, whenever you take yours apart, take a look for that little pin with that's spring loaded in there, and be real careful and look for it, And we'll see about it. So I'm going to put this guy back on, figure out which way's up and down, etc. And then these little, I had to pry it off with this. I'm using a pretty small flathead, but let's see, it must be that way because it's wider there. You pop it back on and press these guys back in, and that's what keeps it on. There, something like that. So this is like kind of compiling a few other videos that don't have this exact model lock. Anyway, continuing. So here I'm going to test, video the first test. So right now it's no key and it's not able to move, meaning it's locked. And then I'm inserting my key and whoa, look at that. Oh, is it working? I don't know. Feeling that little pin working, so that's good. You hear it click, that's pretty satisfying. I'm not sure why it's not. Why I can't lock it and then pull out my key though. I'll work on it. I think what it is that it's this mechanism, this arm actually actuates a part in here. I'm guessing that plastic part. So as far, I'm putting it back together. I put the lock back in and the little pin back in. As far as I can tell, you want that actuating arm on the lock to go inside of that thing. That way it can flip this back and forth. And that way you just turn the key and pull it out and it does that. And I'm sure that that's what deactivates the levering action to open the bed. Okay, I know handle back on by these two nuts that correspond with studs that mount to this, that mount to the frame of the bed. And I have that little lock lever, the lever that's attached to the lock, inside of this plastic thing. And so I can now pull it and see that it works, and then if I flip this plastic thing, which is what the key does, then when I pull it, it no longer pulls the unlocking rods. So I may appear to have success. Also, the bed was, let's see, got it, having trouble opening, and I can see that this side seems to be good, but there's a few less threads over here. So what I'm going to do is pop this open with a screwdriver and adjust this so that it pulls more on that. So that apparently that's another adjustment you can make. And then next thing is to put a hose clamp here so that they can't just steal this one in 5 seconds or less. So I've got a hose clamp. I'm going to run it around there